Okay, so today's class, first of all, we're going to take this object here, which is a 9-volt battery. Okay, so you may have seen these batteries before in toys or other electronic devices. And if we hold it up close, you can see just down here, it tells us it's 9 volts. Okay, and if we look at the top, we can see there are connecting terminals there. So we've positive and negative. Okay, so this side here is positive, which is this terminal, and the other side is negative. Okay, so what we're going to do in this class and for this activity is, well, first of all, we're going to sketch a three-dimensional isometric image of this 9-volt battery, and then when we have that done, we're going to sketch the orthographic views of the battery. So we're going to convert our three-dimensional sketch into 2D. Okay, so down here towards the bottom right of my page is where I'm going to complete the 3D sketch. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm having a look at the battery, and I'm just examining its shape or its geometry, and we can see that the battery is a rectangular based prism, and there are two terminals at the top. Okay, so that's my starting point. I know the basic outline. I'm using a nice soft pencil here. It's a B pencil, and I'm going to sketch this 9-volt battery in isometric. So like any isometric sketch, I'm going to start off very lightly, so not leaning on this pencil much at all. I'm going to sketch the principal axis. So I'm going to lightly sketch in a vertical line like that, and this vertical line is going to represent the height of the battery, and then I need two more lines from the bottom of that vertical line to the right at 30 degrees and one to the left at 30 degrees. Okay, so let me just zoom in a little bit there, and I'm going to focus it just so you can see the outline. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. Alright, so this line here at 30 degrees, this one is a bit longer than that one, because you can see that the width of the battery is greater than the depth. Okay, so the principal axis is representing the height, the width, and the depth. Now, next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to complete a crate, and that's going to be the outline of the battery, I suppose. So two more vertical lines, two more lines at 30 degrees, and we close it off at the top there like that. So nice and light to start off with. And you'll remember doing something similar to this at the start of first year when we were sketching the smartphone and so on. Okay, so that's the outline of the battery. Okay, now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add these two little terminals to the top. So look at there. I know this one here is based on a hexagon, if you can see that. It's hexagonal. Now I'm not too worried about that today. I'm just going to add in two cylinders. So guys, the easiest way to do this and the quickest way to do it is the following. Just zooming in a little bit here. So again, really lightly, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come across halfway across this line at the top, and I'm just going to draw a center line from left to right, really lightly. So that line should be just barely visible. And then I'm going to lightly draw in two ovals like that cross over that center line. Okay, so nice and light. Oh, sorry. Let me focus that in a little bit there. Alright. Okay, so I'm going to, so if I zoom in another little bit, so guys, I have my two ovals drawn in there, and I'm going to, again, really lightly, so where the center line cuts through the ovals, I'm just going to draw two short vertical lines up like that, there and there, and I'm just going to draw another oval that touches off those two vertical lines. Okay, just like that. So basically what I've done is I've just added two cylinders to the top of my rectangular base prism. Okay, so these are the two terminals. The last thing I'm going to do here now, everybody, is I'm just going to heavy in the parts of the battery that I want to stand out. So I'm going to heavy in the two terminals. Okay, and you'll see that I'm using the same pencil to do that. And all I'm doing differently is I'm just leaning a little bit more on it. So I want this front vertical edge to stand out, so I'm just leaning on the pencil a little bit heavier. These two vertical edges, I'm going to heavy those in as well. And of course the back edge. Okay, so that's the sketch of my battery done. Now let's have a look at the battery again. Okay, so alright, that's represents that 9-volt battery somewhat. Okay, so I'm happy with the proportion. So proportion meaning the ratio between the height, the width, and the depth. And I have my two terminals at the top there as well. Now look, what I do as well here is I suppose I'll see this kind of a yellow band at the top, or yellow orangey coloured band. We might just add that little band in as well. Okay, so lines at 30 degrees going around the battery like so. Like that. And maybe we'll just add in the symbol for the negative terminal. And at the front here, I'm going to simplify this a lot. I might just write in 9-volt. So that's our 9-volt battery. Okay, right, then really quickly what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to add a little bit of colour. Okay, so I'm going to, just with a yellow colouring pencil, I'm going to start off here and I'm going to colour in the yellow orangey band. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep the colour heavy towards this front edge, and I'm going to lighten it off everywhere else. So I'm going to keep it nice and light up here. I'll do the same thing around the other side. So just leaning a little heavier on the yellow colouring pencil towards this front edge. Okay, and if you have one, if you have an orange colouring pencil or even a brown colouring pencil, I'm just going to blend in a little bit of orange in there as well. And again, keeping it nice and heavy towards that front vertical edge. Okay, so just to blend it in like that. And the reason I'm leaning heavier here than everywhere else is just to show how the light reflects off the battery. Okay, so yellow, and we'll add a little bit of red down here then. So guys, same thing, I'll start down here at the bottom, and what I'll do is I'll just keep it nice and heavy towards the front vertical edge like that. You can see that I'm keeping the direction that I'm moving the colour and pencil in the same. So nice and heavy in here. So just darken it in there a little bit. So it's just adding a little bit of tone to the sketch, and then I'm just going to lighten it off as we move towards the right of the battery there. I'll just blend it in then. Okay, so trying to achieve a nice transition from the darker red to the lighter shade of red. And the same around this side, so heavy down at the bottom and up along the front vertical edge like that. All the way up here. So the direction I'm moving the colour and pencil in is the same direction as these lines at 30 degrees. Okay, as opposed to, you know, vertical lines. Now it doesn't matter if you've coloured it in using vertical motion. It's just I find that it's easier to blend it in when you follow the contour, I suppose, of the initial sketch. So nice and light up there. I'm just going to try and blend it all together, just try and get rid of a lot of that white paper coming through there. Okay, so just adds a little bit of tone to the sketch. And you know, down at the bottom here, I might just add in a little bit of, I might just go over with the orange again. Okay, if you have an orange colour and pencil. Okay, and if you want, you could even, if you want to darken that another bit, you could even use your pencil. Okay, so we'll add in a little bit of shading a little bit with our pencil, like that. Same this side, just to darken a little bit. Just adds another little bit of tone and texture to the sketch, like that. And I suppose at the top here, I stay with the pencil, and I'll just add a little bit of cross hatching up here at the top. So it's just diagonal lines across the top surface, and that's called hatching, and we might just crisscross them as well. So diagonal lines in the opposite direction. Okay. Alright, so that's our isometric sketch of the battery complete. Okay. Now the next step here is we're going to complete our orthographic views of the battery over in this space here to the top left. So we're going to draw the 2D views of the battery over here. Okay. Now first of all, we need to recall where are we looking at the battery from. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw in my little symbol here. It's an eyeball like that, and this eye is looking in at the battery there, and I'm going to call that A. So I'm going to say that that's the front of the battery. And then if I move around here, I'll draw my eyeball in again. Around here I'm looking at the side of the battery. And if I'm up above and I'm looking down at it, what do I see? Okay, so we call that B and we call this C. Okay. Right, perfect. Okay, so what I'm going to do is over here is I'm going to start drawing in these views, okay? And I'm going to start with the first view. So we say A is looking in at the front of the battery, and this is called our front elevation. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a ruler, even though we're sketching most of this, I'm just going to take a ruler and I want to draw just a light horizontal line like that, because that's going to come in useful. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the 2D view of the front of the battery. So I'm going to sketch this now, guys. So we're not using a ruler to sketch, we're sketching these views. So if I was standing in front of this battery where this eyeball is, looking in at it, what do I see? Well, what I see is a rectangular outline. So sketching a vertical line like that. And I'm keeping the proportion the same. So approximately the same width. And then down again, okay, like that. Alright. And then I'm going to add in any more detail I can see. So I would see the front rectangular surface, and then I'd see these two terminals as well. And the two terminals are cylindrical, but of course when we sketch cylinders in 2D, they appear as rectangles. Okay, so it looks something like this. I'm also going to add in that just a line there for the difference between the red and the yellow band, and I'm going to add in the little bit of writing that's on it as well, 9 volts. Okay, and underneath, no, I won't label it yet. Okay, so that's known as our front elevation. Now we label them at the end here. Okay. Okay, now, yeah. There's no need yet. We might do it at the end. Okay. Okay, now we're not finished yet because we also need to draw in what we see from this, looking in at the side of the battery, and this is called our end or side elevation. So I'm going to draw the side elevation to the right of the front elevation. Now, if you remember from the success criteria in the slides that I showed you, the side elevation and the front elevation rest on the same baseline. So I'm going to leave a little space between the front elevation, and I'm going to start now with the side elevation. So again, vertical line, and this time the depth here is about half of the width. So I want to keep the proportion the same. So we'll come over here about that much and then back down again. Okay, now what's important here, everybody, is that the height here, so this height, I'm just going to ghost in a line there, the height must be the same because it's the same battery. I'm also going to have that yellow band going around, so I'm just going to draw in a line to represent that. And I'll just draw in the symbol for the negative terminal. And I also want to add in the connecting terminal. So it comes up, over and down. And because it's a cylinder, or it's cylindrical, again it'll appear like a rectangle in our end elevation. So remember, the height, the top of this terminal should be in line with the top of the terminal in elevation because it's the same drawing. And then lastly, guys, I'm going to draw the plan view. Now the plan view, if you remember from your success criteria, the plan view has to be directly underneath your front elevation. So it has to be down here. We can't just put it anywhere on the page. There is a specific location for all these views. So look, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just ghost down a really light line like that. And the reason I'm doing that is because that's just like a little guide for me to make sure I keep the widths the same. Now, guys, it should be a very light line. And then I'm going to draw in what I see from point C. If I were up above the battery looking down on it, well, I'd see the top surface. It appears rectangular. And then, of course, I'd see these two connecting terminals. But this time, because I'm up above looking down on them, they'll appear as two circles. Because remember, they're cylindrical. So that's the plan view of my battery. And the last thing I need to do here, guys, is just label the views. Now I'm going to keep this writing very small and neat. So block capitals. So underneath the front elevation, I'll just heavy that in a little bit there. I'm just going to shorten it to elevation. So block capitals, nice neat writing. and we'll just call this one end elevation, and this down here is called our plan view. Okay, and up, either up above or down below, wherever you like, we're just going to write in block capitals orthographic views, we call them, because we're viewing them in 2D, orthographic views. And over here then we'll just label our sketch isometric. Okay guys, so we've 5 minutes left in this class. We won't colour them today, okay, because I don't want to eat into your next class. I do want you to hang on there for me, please, because I'm going to take a roll call now. And what I'd also like you to do, please, is I want you to, I'm going to ask you to submit an image of your completed work to Google Classroom.